What's going on, everyone? It's the Bearded One back with another beer review. And tonight we are doing a stout from Scotland. That's right. We're doing Kindred Spirits from Innis and Gunn. I've only had one of their beers, but I can say I liked it so much. Innis and Gunn is now a personal favorite of mine. I had their oak-aged wheat beer. It was supposed to be, according to the style guidelines for the beer, I would call it a specialty beer or a hybrid beer. But if you just had to categorize it, it was a barrel-aged Hefeweizen, and I didn't get a lot of phenolic clove in that one, but there was definitely a beautiful orange presence in that wheat barrel. But we're not talking about that one. We're talking about Kindred Spirits tonight. And they use Irish whiskey in this as well, so I think they blended this with Irish whiskey. It says a stout matured with Irish whiskey barrel staves. Maybe they didn't. Okay, I'll backtrack. Maybe they didn't blend it with whiskey. Maybe they did. I'm not too sure. But they did use staves. I don't think they aged it in whiskey barrels. I think there's a reason they're saying they aged it with staves instead of saying barrel. And then I read their kind of a description on their website, and they do talk about how they're more special beers that they want to treat with more tender loving care. They'll put into barrels and age them at their barrel house in Perth. Don't ask me where Perth is. And then they also put wood into the beer. So yeah, and I know from learning a little bit about home brewing, you can buy chunks of wood and put them in your beer to brew with and stuff, and give it like a oak flavor. I don't know if one's better than the other. This will be my first beer with wood probably either aged or brewed in the beer as opposed to a barrel-aged beer, but I expect it to be relatively the same. Maybe an expert would know the difference, but I don't know if I would. They do, the Irish whiskey staves they chose were from Tullamore Dew from Ireland, and they just really wanted to celebrate the culture of Ireland and Scotland, because if you don't know, Innis and Gunn is from Edinburgh in Scotland. And two bands, Ireland's Ash and then Scotland's Frightened Rabbit, I believe that's the name. I'm going from memory here. They came together over some Kindred Spirits and wrote a lot of old Irish folk songs while they were, having a good time drinking Kindred Spirits. And they named that experience the Kindred Sessions. And it's available online to watch if you want to watch those sessions. I believe it's on their website, innisandgunn.com, or you can probably go to YouTube and find it. So yeah, that's some interesting information for you. There's supposed to be vanilla and chocolate in here as well. We'll see if we get it. Get that aggressive pour, see if we can get some head out of that. I smell like coffee. Price I pay for Stout Month and celebrating beer holidays. So we got a very dark brown head. Dark brown. And I'd say a medium brown head. It's definitely brown, like a very dark khaki. I like to refer to it as a chocolate milk brown. Very black, definitely a stout, no brown highlights whatsoever. I mean, it's not dark brown, it is black. Not a lot of carbonation going on this thing. A little bit of, I see some legs going on. What's the ABV on this thing? 6.1%. So yeah. I mean, it's not like legs for days or anything. Well, for 6.1%, I see some legs on here. I don't see any lacing. It's just kind of falling down on the glass. Coffee, strong coffee. Yeah, I get the oak. Yeah, I get the chocolate as well. I really like, at least in the aroma, how the coffee and at least the chocolate and the oak are kind of bringing down the coffee for me, because I don't like coffee that hits you in the face. Definitely roast in there. Some of that dark malty roast. I'm getting an underlying sweetness. It's not pungent enough for me to just say that's vanilla. But because I know vanilla's in there, it's probably the vanilla. Yeah, that's probably about it. Let's get into the best part of a beer review. I don't hate it. Let me go in for another sip. This is really good. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So, coffee, like barrels in the middle of the sip and coffee's on the back end. I just at least want to get going with the critique here. One more time. I'm trying to find the coffee, believe it or not. Interesting. You know, with it being a stout, I expect the coffee to just hit me in the mouth, but man, they really found a way to. They blended everything so perfectly. It's like the circuits in my brain can't complete a circuit. Like I don't really understand why I'm tasting what I'm tasting anyways, and granted, I've not had many stouts in my life, but I feel like I've had enough stouts to say there's going to be coffee in a stout. And this thing is so freaking cohesive. Like, there's enough coffee there. There's plenty. This thing is chocolatey. So much chocolate. And this thing, what was it bottled on? The bottle date's on here. November 19th. So this thing is... it's over 2 months old. Which I don't consider to be very old for a stout. But maybe in the 2 months, the coffee kind of subdued. Let me go in and see if I can get something else. It's like, yeah, that coffee and that chocolate is so cohesive and working together. It just really, it's like the main feature, and then kind of the co-star in the beer would be the vanilla, and I get a little barrelage in there, and it seems like because Irish whiskey is so triple distilled, it gives Irish whiskey a very delicate flavor. It wouldn't be like a bourbon barrel aged beer where it's just, smacking you in the face. But there's a wisp of that Tullamore Dew, kind of there throughout the whole experience. Like, but yeah, I like it. What would I give this? I'm nervous. I don't like being very nice to stouts because I don't like coffee. Let me go in one more time. I'm gonna go 4.75 out of 5. With it being a stout and there being coffee in there, I'm just probably, I just don't see myself buying stouts. Like, as an everyday drinker, what I refer to as an everyday drinker. And part of why I would give something a perfect score is it's so good I would buy it again. There's a lot of good beer out there. I'm comfortable giving an A range, but I wouldn't necessarily buy it again, for one reason or another. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it there. I just don't like coffee, and I don't feel like I get enough of the oak and the Tullamore Dew. So that's what's kind of backing me off a perfect score. It's a little, what I want out of this beer is a little too delicate for me. But what I don't like about stouts is perfectly subdued and sweetened with the chocolatey vanilla stuff going on in this beer. Excellent world-class stout in my opinion. Right there with KBS in my opinion. KBS, I could argue with myself about KBS still being my favorite stout after this beer. But yeah, this and KBS for me. I love both these beers for sure. This is a great recommendations. I think this beer is sweet enough for a if you're like a beer novice or a beer beginner and you're comfortable drinking a dark beer, that doesn't scare you away. Because I have a brother-in-law, the first craft beer he ever drank was a milk stout. and he loved it, and he only drinks milk stouts. So I mean, good for him. In fact, James is following me, so I'm talking about you, James. If you ever see this, but yeah, I would recommend this to said brother-in-law. I'd recommend this to any everyday drinker, really, of stouts. My brain's just going everywhere after this beer. I'm just so joyed that there's a stout out there other than KBS that I really like. And stout lovers and the barrel aged lovers. I mean, it's Innis and Gunn. You know, if you don't know about Innis and Gunn already, so I feel like I've gone long enough on this beer. I'm going to finish this off camera. It's an excellent beer. Yeah, Innis and Gunn. 4.75 out of a 5. Cheers.